Yo, we are finally getting the vet put back together. I got all the parts in and super excited. It's been apart pretty much all winter. I went ahead and ported the intake manifold myself, did my own version of the rod mod, ported the throttle body, new aerated intake, just freshening up. I did run into some interesting things with the Valvetrain, so I wanted to grab a video of this and kind of go through it. So some of you probably already know about the weird LS Valvetrain stuff, especially trunnions. And if you don't, hopefully you learned something from this. So let's get into it. So before I dive into this, my two issues were some failing trunnions and a strange white pattern on one of my rockers. And to really explain this, I kind of drew out what's going on here. This is LS Valvetrain. Camshaft, lifter, push rod, rocker arm, valve spring. Cam comes up on the lobe, pushes your lifter up. This guy, maintains oil in here to maintain zero lash here. That's its job. And your push rod, connecting right between here, sits up in the cup of this rocker, just like this. Cam comes up, pushes the rocker down. Same going back. And the valve tip sits right here on the tip of the rocker. You see that swiping pattern as it comes up and down. Then we press the valve spring and open the valve. And same thing coming back down. Now, I've gone down the rabbit hole with all this, and there's a lot of controversy around these trunnions in general. So what I have here is the CHE trunnion. The factory, they got these needle bearings that sit in here and a metal cap that goes over the top. And stock, they're great. We see over 200,000 miles out of some of these. And the problem is there's a metal cap that'll break or walk off once you start introducing these more aggressive cams. And what happens when that pops off, all those needle bearings now are free to go wherever they want, aka your engine. So that started a bunch of horror stories about it. And now the big thing, you read anything about a cam swap and an LS, you're going to hear trunnion. And one of the more popular options here is your brass bushing style. Again, these are CHEs, the G version, and pretty much got this piece of brass, sits on the trunnion like that. It's supposed to ride on some oil, and that sits in the rocker arm. Well, these are an option, or you can go back to another type of needle bearing style. And most aftermarket ones aim for, like a enclosed style, so those bearings can't get out. And what I noticed is in the earlier versions, even on the brass side, I've seen a lot of wear, premature wear. It's like the Smith Bros. I think that was one of the ones that came up a lot. Really wallered this out down here, right? Because you got to think about it. Aftermarket springs like the ones I have, we're talking 380, 400 open pressure, 150 at the seat, and it's just constantly going like this. So your wear is going to be down here on the bottom of this, right? So if you pop this apart, this sits down there on that rocker stand, and you can tell, I don't know if you can on camera, this is all uniform color, and then right here, real shiny and a little scored, right? So that's where that sits. And it would just eat that brass up. And on the earlier needle bearing style, pretty much you got needle bearings in here, none of the brass bushing. And what would happen is this inner, metal here would not be as hard, and those bearings would just eat it up. And we're looking at a similar issue as the factory. And thus again, we start the horror stories of needle bearings. So then I go down the rabbit hole of, do I go trunnion style or do I go back to a needle bearing style? And I'll show you what my decision was here in just a minute. But I want to talk about this white pattern. So I was tearing it down, and I noticed this rocker right here. So number 2 cylinder, passenger side. The rocker looked canted. and I was like, there's no way. Factory rocker stand, just a casting. Went ahead and pulled the rocker, and you can tell here that white pattern, it's not even close to centered. It's way over here. And that confirmed it was sitting canted and kind of rubbing like that. Just out of curiosity, I went ahead and ordered a factory GM rocker stand off Amazon. I think it was like $10, and slapped it in, and when you know it, it went back straight. So that was kind of an interesting thing. Don't know if it was a bad casting. I mean, these things move around, and you're about to see why I went away from that. And they do make billet rocker stands for these. I personally just wanted to go a different route. So my solution to this is, and here it is. This is the BTR shaft rocker kit for the LS3. This is a roller bearing or needle bearing style. They're enclosed with the washer here. Came with the BTR rocker arms, so upgraded version here from the stockers. A little benefit there. And the main thing is this shaft right here. Moved it to, what is it, 62-100 bearing steel? I'd have to look again. But pretty much aiming to resolve the issue we saw with earlier styles, across the industry, where those needle bearings were eaten in to that material and causing failure. This is a really solid unit. I'm really, really excited to try this. I know, higher RPM stuff really benefits here. I don't spend mine that high, but for just over $500 assembled to my door, shaft kit with BTR revised rockers, you just can't beat it. Nothing against CHE. They've been great. The car ran great, no crazy noises, nothing exploded, nothing changed, ran strong. Several poles. It's just a wear item. These really are wear items that we got to be checking. Just like valve springs, just like your oil. So really thrilled about this. I just put the ARP studs in the head. So let's get this over there and get it bolted up. Now the instructions say, I had the ARP studs in here already. You just take the shaft kit and push it on. Make sure, rotate the engine, see if you can get a lot of these push rods down, on the base lobe of the cam, just like you were doing any other rocker install. You really don't want to be tightening things down under spring pressure, especially stock bolts. That would really be concerning. This ARP stuff's pretty tough, but still, if you don't have to, don't do it. So you just push it down on here. I already went ahead and put the nuts on the studs here. And then you start in the center, work your way out, and just slowly walk that kit down. We'll torque them to 25 pound-feet, and we should be good to go. So let's do it. Now, once you get all buttoned down, 25 foot-pounds, now make sure to check all these guys too. Rotate the engine over. I'm gonna check torque again, then we can start buttoning it up. There she is. All buttoned up.